Hi, it's time for another math easy solution. Time to discuss further into the laboratory project Bezier curves and go over part 4, which looks at question 4 of the laboratory project. Just a quick recap. The Bezier curves are some pretty cool curves that are used widely in computer-aided design and other stuff. And a cubic Bezier curve is determined by these 4 control points, P0, P1, P2, P3, and the coordinates are all incorporated into these set of parametric equations, x and y, where the equations are pretty much identical except the x and y is flipped. It is x0, y0, 3x1, 3y1, etc. And the parameter t is between 0 and 1. And I'll recap questions 1 to 3 in a bit, but we're going to look at question 4 in this video, and it states some laser printers use Bezier curves or Bezier curves to represent letters and other symbols. Experiment with control points until you find a Bezier curve that gives a reasonable representation of the letter C. So that's going to be a cool video. So here's just a recap on the solution to question 1, what we did. In question 1, we just developed one particular Bezier curve. That's this one here, and looks like a shape like that, where the control points P0, P1, P2, and P3 are given there. At t equals 0 is this left one, and t equals 1 is all the way at the right end point. And then I drew line segments across these points as well. And the Bezier curve is in red right here. So that's a Bezier curve, and these kind of control how the shape is. You can move them around, and they never touch these points, but it just controls how they look. And in question 2, I showed that the derivative at t equals 0 and at t equals to 1 is just the slope. So this derivative at this point is just tangent line, is just the same as the slope, the tangent line at these points. So check those videos. And then in question 3, I showed that by moving the second control point P1, that's this one here, if we move it to the right, what we end up getting is, if we move it like that, we get a loop like that, which is pretty cool. And now question 4 states, based on the behavior of the Bezier curve in questions 1 to 3, we suspect the 4 control points should be in an exaggerated C shape. In other words, these are the 4 control points. Basically, judging by how the behavior of this, if you move it all the way across, this point becomes a loop like that. And as you can see, the curves, the Bezier curves, is enclosed inside these control points. So what this states here, this is the solutions here. What we can suspect how the shape looks like is if we just draw an xy coordinate, and if we drew the control points, it should look something like this in my view, like this. This is P0. I'm going to draw this as P1, P2, and P3 here. So if we draw this across like that, if we draw something like this, then basically the shape, because remember this is tangent line across, we should get a giant C like that, or let's draw a better C like that. So yeah, something like that. That's how it should look like, and that's our letter C. So that's the curve right here, is the one right, our Bezier curve. And in fact, here I've graphed this out using the Desmos calculator, and also show you some cool features of it. And this is for a particular set of coordinates. Before I get to the calculator, just to show you that here, this is the x, and this is the y coordinate, x0, etc., x1, x2, x3. So that's how you graph parametric equations. And we get this curve like this, which is exactly like a C, and it's pretty much the same thing like that we guessed. So if you click this, and this is some pretty amazing stuff I'll show you that you could do with this graphing calculator right here. So if we zoom in, there's our Bezier curve. These are line segments across them. Another feature you could do on this is if you plot out single points like this, and you can also, let me just hold this. I'm actually use my mouse. If you hold this, then you could change how you want to move it. You could change the shape to make it a circle like that. You can make the drag button as well, so you can actually move this around. This is quite amazing. So I put these x0, y0 all the way to the 4th control point, x3, y3, and you could also show labels, etc., and move it around, which is quite amazing. This is by far the best calculator I've ever seen. So there's our equation right here in red. You could hide them. You can hide this point as well. And then as you move these, notice how these values change. See the x0 moves around? Same thing as moving this around. It's pretty cool. And also these lines, I've graphed them. You can graph them multiple ways. As I showed before, for the equation of a line, you could just use stuff like this. Yeah, you could click here and you'll see these lines change. But what you could also do is make a giant table like this. So I've made a table, and I just want to show you some more stuff here. So you can click this, and yeah, you can get basically the lines using this way, as I did my earlier video on parametric equations and line segments, or just use this as pretty neat. Just click this like that, and you could just plug in the variable x0, y0, etc., and move it around. So this is absolutely amazing. I just wanted to show you guys this. I think I'll do another video on just this calculator, this Desmos calculator. It's absolutely amazing. So if you move this around, you can make a letter C. Let's see how this looks like. So yeah, there you go. You can make a letter C. So this is kind of the idea behind a lot of the characters you see in real life on your computer when you print it with a laser printer or any kind of printer. It usually uses in the back end equations like this to be able to create the shapes that you're most familiar with, which is absolutely amazing. And then you could also make it curve like that. And let's see if we could move this down, get a loop, move this across. Yes, we get a loop like that. And let's just move it down here, move this there. Absolutely amazing. This is super fun to play with. So yeah, I highly recommend playing this, just clicking the Desmos calculator link and going and playing around with this. This is absolutely amazing stuff. And you could also do some more. I just want to show you some more stuff you could play around with. You can just press this play button and now things start moving. Let's press this play button. Let's see what happens here. Wow. And let's just do another one. And you can slow it down, or slow down. You could speed up and do other crazy stuff. Let's do one more. Actually, let's play and play. And there is our little movie there. Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's all. I just wanted to show you that. Most of this video was just playing around with that calculator. It's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend playing with that. I just wish I had this during my time at school. Would have saved a lot of time. And anyways, that's all for today. If you learned from this quick video, just to show you how the Bezier curves are very easy to just draw pretty much any symbol. All you do is move 4 control points around, and in the next video I'll go over some more complicated shapes. Anyways, that's all for today. If you learned, like always, you can download these exact notes, and I'll put the link, the link of the videos in this. Yeah, in this notes, I mean the link to the Desmos calculator. Highly recommend going there and playing around with it, and just look at my calculations in detail, how I did it, and just play around with it for whatever you want. It's absolutely amazing. Anyways, all for today. If you learned, and yeah, stay tuned for another math easy solution.